Summer is here. It feels like we skipped a summer, but it's finally here, and we finally turned the corner. The White House announced this week that over 50% of US adults are fully vaccinated, and 62% have had at least their first dose. We are on track for 70% vaccination rate in the United States against COVID by the 4th of July. Aggressive goals that are being hit, and it's changing the course of American history in real time. On top of that, we're already seeing the outcome, declining case rates. Los Angeles just announced this week they're now under 1 case per 100,000 residents and a test positivity rate of under 2%. To put some context around that, what does that mean to any of us listening who don't study this? Only 4 months ago, during the peak of the pandemic, right before the mass vaccination started, Los Angeles was seeing 13 people infected per 100,000. That means it is down 90+% in only 4 months. On top of all that, the 2020 e-commerce gains have solidified. We see that everywhere. Shopify stock price, BigCommerce stock price, even at Mevo, we see it internally. We see what our customers are selling, and the sales have not stopped. Every week looks like the holiday season of 2020. With the relentless pace of running a business and life in 2020 and 2021, we never really took a break. We had our foot on the gas for over a year. I can't tell if it makes me feel exhausted or energized. Practically, it really kind of makes me feel a bit of both. It is exciting times if you're an e-commerce seller, but we need to find time for self-care. We need to find time to take care of us and run the business of our own lives. And after an unexpectedly banner year in e-commerce, the dragon is still hungrier than ever. That dragon, of course, is Amazon. And for online merchants coexisting with it, it feels like a permanent year-round battle. You can never put down your sword and your shield. The latest round in this battle, though, is unexpected and overdue. Amazon is finally getting legally challenged for its unfair retail practices. I'll break down what that case is and what it means for the future of our industry. Welcome to Dragon Proof. So here's what happened. This past week, the DC Attorney General filed charges against Amazon, essentially for anti-competitive business practices, which what they're saying is this. They're saying that Amazon is using its most favored nation pricing policies in its distribution contracts to unfairly force people or merchants to include Amazon's high prices that they cost you to sell when you sell elsewhere. So what does all that mean? That was a big mouthful, even for me. So what that means is this. If I want to sell something for $100 on Amazon, let's say I'm selling a pair of shoes, pretty much Amazon's going to take around $50 of that, just in general. And so those fees are going to be, say, $20 for the listing fee or their commission on the sale, plus another $30 for fulfillment, credit card processing, and everything, leaving me with $50 for my shoes. One of the problems is in most retail, it costs me $50 to make those shoes. So I've got razor thin margins left over. So why would I do that? Why would I sell on Amazon with that kind of math? Well, here's why. Amazon has so many eyeballs. It's more than 50% of shopping in America online comes through Amazon. So the idea being, hey, I'll get eyeballs on Amazon. Yeah, I can't tell people go to my website instead, but if I can build some brand loyalty, most customers are going to want to check out my website. So therefore, you go to my website. Well, what Amazon's doing is they're using most favored nation status provisions to say, you have to charge, have to is the wrong term. And this is where Amazon's going to try to have it both ways. They're saying you have to charge the same thing elsewhere that you charge on Amazon. And what they mean by that is you don't have to. Amazon's rebuttal to all this is that, hey, retailers set their prices, but we don't have to showcase or highlight retailers that aren't priced competitively. Well, that when you control over 50% of the market, that's a have to, arose by any other name kind of thing. And so what they're saying is, okay, this $100 pair of shoes, Amazon's taking $50. My margins may be 5%, 6%, 10% if I'm lucky when I sell this via Amazon. My goal being, hey, maybe a customer will come to my website and I'll be able to sell it for $85. And even though it's $15 less, I'm still making 35% instead of 10%. And what Amazon's trying to do with their MFN clauses, their most favored nation clauses, is prevent you from doing that. And the way they're preventing it isn't strict. They're not saying you can't sell it for less. What they were saying is effectively is they will not promote you. You won't get the buy box or you won't be listed when they think the product is available elsewhere in the market for less. that's going to get them in trouble. Now, here's the thing. There's 2 million independent sellers on Amazon that make up 60% of total GMV or sales in North America for Amazon's e-commerce business, not counting AWS and Prime and all the other stuff. And so Amazon's really trying to have it both ways. And what you tend to see in a world like this is that most sellers are going to take the suggestion from Amazon and they're going to sell it for the same price on their website. And I've just noticed this in practice as a consumer. Rarely do I go to someone's direct website. If I go to Belkin, let's say, to look for the latest MagSafe charger thing for my car, it's almost always the same price it is on Amazon, which is weird to me because I have a rough idea of what it costs Belkin to make something like that. And they're giving half their money to Amazon. Yeah, they'll love it if I'll give it to them directly because they're making a fortune on it, but they would sell more if they could undercut their own products on Amazon. And Amazon's using its impact to stop that. And this is what the DC Attorney General is trying to get to the bottom of. Now, here's the thing. With 60% of their retail sales coming from third-party sellers, there's a lot of power here if the third-party sellers can band together with the help of an attorney general to make a difference. Now, here's the thing. Historically, it's been 41 plus years since the government broke up Ma Bell or AT&T. And most people listening to this probably aren't even old enough to know what the heck I'm talking about. The fact that I know what the heck I'm talking about makes me sad for my age, but that's neither here nor there. The government rarely in these antitrust cases takes really drastic action. They don't want to be seen as overstepping. They want to be careful, right? What really happens in these cases, if you look at what happened to Microsoft in the 90s with Internet Explorer versus Netscape, or if you look at what's going on for Apple right now with the Epic Games trial on the App Store and the fact that they started lowering commissions for people doing less than $1 million a year, what tends to happen when you get into these cases is not that the government does some radical, drastic thing. It's not, the Goliath colliding in the sky. What happens is the company starts thinking differently. In the back of their head, there's this voice. Oh, shoot, if I do this, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen. And they start subtly changing their behavior toward the market to try to avoid trouble, knowing full well that if they overplay their hand, the worst case scenario is like what happened to Standard Oil 120 years ago or Ma Bell 40 years ago. No one wants that. Amazon does not want to be broken up. They don't want Prime to be a separate business competing with UPS and FedEx, and the retail product to be essentially a separate business competing with, say, an Overstock.com or Walmart.com, and AWS to be a totally separate business. That would be a nightmare for them. So these kind of actions, while they're not going to produce some giant blow up, Perry Mason moment in public, Amazon will start in the most likely outcome changing their behavior. And this is a great time for sellers. Sellers need to watch this. They need to pay close attention to what Amazon's doing. And as Amazon makes changes that by their very nature have to be pro seller in order to keep from getting in more trouble, this is your time to pounce. This is your time to take action and raise your margins and get more money. Because the whole point of selling via Amazon is to get those eyeballs, to build your brand so that you can coexist with the dragon and you can sometimes put your shield down. So ultimately, the Amazon case is, there's a whole antitrust thing going on in America right now. It's Apple, it's Amazon. Look, I'm a big Apple fanboy, but both of them probably deserve a bit of it. Once you're $1 trillion company, there's only a few things that can kind of slow you down. And you need something with the heft. You need a dragon, if you will, with the heft of the federal government to do something about it. And I'm a pro-business, reasonably small government kind of guy. So the power of the government needs to be used sparingly. But in cases like Amazon and the FANG monopolies, you're going to see, you already see it in public opinion, and you're going to see the government get a little more bold in trying to tamper these guys. So you want to look for more charges like this in international courts. There's public momentum. We're going to see changes. Amazon's not going to change unless they're forced. The fact of the matter is this dragon is relentless. It is hungrier than any of us can imagine. And the only thing that can tame that hunger is court cases like this. So summer is here. Our foot is on the gas pedal, but it's a great time to rejoice. Amazon's going to get in check, and this is a perfect opportunity for our listeners to take advantage of the changes that are going to come in the next 6 to 24 months from the behemoths and find a way to increase your business and take your share of this pie. Thank you guys. I'll see you again in a couple weeks.